Welcome back to Leelee's Delivery Service, where love, healing, and truth all get delivered right on time. Today's topic is a tough one, but a necessary one. We're talking about the modern signs of abuse and manipulation, especially in this social media era. Abuse doesn't always look like bruises or shout matches anymore. Sometimes it looks like silence, like confusion, like someone convincing you that your feelings are too much. Let's unpack the real, hidden, and modern signs and talk about how you find your way back to yourself. On today's episode of Leelee's Delivery Service. Hello and welcome back to Leelee's Deliveries channel, where every delivery is divine and love is always the ritual. So today, I really wanted to talk about abuse, especially in the modern day era, because if you're like me, a kid from the 90s, we all grew up on those Lifetime movies and pretty much a certain image of what abuse is. You know, shouting matches, coming home and your mom got beat up by her husband, her boyfriend, whatever the case. But I feel like today, abuse is no longer just physical. It never was just physical, but now we have the vocabulary, we have the technology and the knowledge to really bring certain elements of abuse into focus. So mainly, I wanted to talk about today that, of course, we know that abuse is a pattern of power and control. And in 2025, a lot of this happens online now through messages, of course, DMs, social media posts, subtext, not subtext. What is it? When you subtweet somebody, we've all been there, done that. And even though silence, and even through silence and withdrawal. So we want to talk about the difference in abuse. So to begin, emotional abuse sounds like you're too sensitive or I didn't mean it like that. And I'm not saying that it can't be a one-off chance that someone actually means that for the first time. But if your feelings are constantly getting invalidated and the other person, whether it's your mama, your sister, your spouse, your coworker, whoever, is constantly telling you that you're in the wrong, you're too sensitive, you're taking it the wrong way, more times than not, that is a way to emotionally abuse somebody. And it's another way of manipulation. It's messed up. There's also psychological abuse, where it can feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, where, oh God, not y'all gonna have me talk about my daddy. So, when I was younger, and of course, me and my siblings lived with our parents before they got divorced. I know firsthand how that feels because my dad is from Kansas. He used to be in the Army, and he liked things a certain way. And when you didn't do that, he would get really upset. And if anybody ever met me in real life, I'm loud naturally. Not even without even trying. I'm always loud. So my voice carries. But my daddy's, times 15. We'll just say that, to be generous. So when he's upset, things go from here to another place. So it became a cycle where everyone was pretty much walking on eggshells, always making sure things were cleaned up, things were put in the right place. And even when we did that, it really didn't matter. He always found a reason to be upset. He was always agitated. He was always angry. And at the end of the day, as a child, I always used to think, well, dang, do you even like us? Because we didn't even ask to be here. But yet, we're over here busting our ass trying to make you comfortable in a place that you should be making us feel comfortable. Either way. We're going to also go into financial abuse. Well, not go into, but one of the other forms of abuse is financial abuse, where it looks like one partner is controlling all the money or guilt-tripping you into spending, especially spending unnecessarily. Where, for example, you could have, say you have a boyfriend and it's tax season and you said you was going to buy him a gift. Y'all go to the mall, you start shopping, but he wants like these new pair of shoes, like way out of your price range that you was even thinking about spending for yourself. And you tell him no, and he throws a fit. That's an indication too. Because one, it's a gift in and of itself. So beggars can't be choosers. But on top of that, now you want to try to make me spend extra money that you yourself wouldn't even feel comfortable spending on me. Or the old-fashioned version of financial abuse is where the stay-at-home wife has the husband who controls all the finances. And that means not only does she stays out of, she doesn't even have access to the bank account. She might have a debit card and it's in his name. She might have a credit card, but it's in his name. Or she only has a certain allowance every month or every week. And then when things go wrong in the home, he could always take it away. Or he actually does take it away. Or threatens to take it away. That's a form of it as well. Especially when you try to leave and they say, well, you don't have any money, you don't have any job, you don't have any career because you spent your whole life, or this marriage, not your whole life, this marriage depended on me, which is another tool. If I can isolate you and have you depend on me, then I can control you, because obviously everyone knows you need money to survive nowadays. So that is another form of abuse. Of course, we all know about sexual abuse, but it's not always violent. Sexual abuse is not always someone coming up to you roughly and just snatching off your clothes and choking you and beating you up and, doing the thing. Sometimes it's coercion. It's pressure. It is, or obviously manipulation. Say, for example, if you just start dating somebody and you tell them up front that you don't want to have sex for a certain amount of time. And at first they seem okay with it. But say like a week, 2 weeks later, a short amount of time goes by, and then they start pressuring you. They keep asking just to kind of check. Checking your little temperature. Just to see if you changed your mind. Like, oh, I've love bombed you. I've done all these things. I've shown up as the perfect spouse. But now can I have some? And then a lot of times, and I can even say this personally, you get worn down, especially when you're younger and you're a people pleaser. Like, I was a known people pleaser, unfortunately. And when someone that you like and that you want them to like you back, it's just constantly pressuring you. And especially when media and everything else is telling you and giving you the okay to do something, it makes it seem, you start to convince yourself it's not a big deal. And then you give in. And then that comes with guilt, comes with shame, because obviously you didn't want to do it, but then you did it, so then you got to kind of go with it and keep doing it, because you're already in it. And that causes a lot of psychological issues as well, but you can always come back from it, especially when you understand the root of abuse and manipulation, especially when it comes to someone trying to get into your pants. And then obviously, since we're talking about the modern day age, digital abuse. I mean, tracking, monitoring, stalking people, or controlling what you post or who you talk about online. Those are all forms of abuse. Like, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend who goes through your friends list on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or whatever, and they kind of demand you delete certain people, or they constantly ask you, like, how do you know them? How do you know them? How do you know them? That's a form of digital abuse, because one, you've had these social media. This is 2025. Everybody at this point, if you are, I would say 30 and older, has had their social media for 10 plus years at this point. People who are 30 and under have had it for at least, 5 to 7? And then after that, I mean, these kids now are going to be born into social media. So it is what it is. But to kind of go through someone's page and nitpick and try to find a problem just so that you can try to wear them down and control them, that's a form of isolation. Of course, that's a form of abuse. That can also go into emotional abuse, not physical abuse, mental abuse. Because honestly, you have the right to your friends. You have the right to your social media. As much as social media isn't supposed to be taken seriously, it is a part of a lot of our habits. I mean, who doesn't wake up and check their social media, whether it's to scroll, whether it's to learn the news, whether it's just to stay updated? It's a part of us at this point. It is what it is. But no one has the right to come in and try to control what you post, who you like, or what you like, what you post, who you interact with. And everyone should have their own privacy to a certain extent. As long as you're not cheating, as long as you're not doing anything crazy, then there shouldn't be a problem. But I'm talking about people who kind of nitpick unnecessarily. And I also want to talk about the hidden themes and what people tend to miss, or what I observe from people, and when we kind of go over abuse cases, because some signs don't scream abuse. They kind of whisper. There's like small indications when someone is in an abusive situation or an abusive relationship. They're not going around holding up a big old sign saying, "Help me, I'm in an abusive relationship." Like, either way. Some signs that you may or may not be in an abusive relationship, or these are some of the signs to kind of look for in people, especially in yourself. If you ever think that you're in an abusive situationship, you feel drained after every conversation. You find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do. And I'm not saying once or twice, I'm saying constantly. Like, you're constantly saying you're sorry. That's not only a sign of low self-esteem, but that can be a sign of abuse too, especially if it's only directed towards one person most of the time, or a situation. And then you can't recognize yourself anymore. If you can no longer do the things that you normally did, see the people, interact with your friends, go to work the same, love the same, something's usually wrong. And it's okay to kind of take a step back to kind of figure out what that problem is. And if somebody doesn't want you to take a step back to do that, then that's usually a problem as well. Another sign is you can start to believe that you're like, oh God, I hate this one. I hate this one. But another sign that you may feel is that you can start to believe that you're lucky that they chose you. Basically, like, they're the prize, and you're lucky that they're even in your life, even when they're hurting you. And when I talked about financial abuse, that also goes for parents as well. How many times have we seen say yes to the dress, and a bride wants a certain dress, but since their mom or their mother-in-law or someone is paying for the dress, they get to dictate what they get to wear on the best day of their life, one of the best days of their life. That is also a form of financial abuse. Because just because you hold the purse strings does not mean you get to dictate the level of someone's happiness. Why would you offer during such a sacred time just to dangle something over someone? So those are red flags of psychological entanglement, not love, no matter who it is. Abuse often hides inside of love bombing, trauma bonding, and emotional confusion. So I also think social media has a lot to do with the impact on awareness of abuse, especially in abusive situations or abusive relationships. From my research and my observation, TikTok and Instagram have made talking about abuse trendier, but not always more accurate. We see videos that say, if he doesn't take back, he's toxic. While some of those messages are empowering for some people, others are often oversimplified. Because how do we know that person didn't text you back because you texted them 50 times? 50, 75 times when they already told you they didn't want you anymore? Social media has made more people aware. There's a lot of information out there. But it's also, but social media also romanticizes pain and trauma. It's content. And yes, even though this is content as well, this content is not intended to trick you. It's not smoke and mirrors. This is truth from a therapeutic lens, but also from a modern day age, because I don't know all the answers. I'm still learning as I go. I'm never going to know all the answers. And that's okay. But for what I do know, I think it's nice to kind of share it with others so that they can do their own research and that they can have these own conversations within their home and not rely solely on social media to kind of shape what we think and how we act and what we do and how we help people and how we love and how we create a life of our own that we're proud of. So sometimes people post their trauma as content before they've even healed from it, which is dangerous within itself. Because once you put something out there, say you put something out there that 10 minutes later you regret, but 10 minutes later it can go viral. And then you got ABC, Good Morning America, calling you, talking about having an interview. So now you got to be front and center. And you ain't even fully healed from it. Don't you think that would cause more damage than just simply, taking some time off social media or even limiting yourself to social media, but kind of keeping that part of yourself to yourself or to a therapist, a trusted friend, your parents, somebody that you can rely on instead of relying on the world to comment on it. Because a lot of people in the world don't know you and they won't handle you with kid gloves. We know what they can do. Just don't put yourself out there so that people can do that to you. It's really not worth it. But a healing tip is before labeling everything as toxic, ask yourself, is this an unhealthy pattern or just a human imperfection? Because we are humans. We're not perfect. None of us is going to be perfect. I don't even know why perfect is in the dictionary because nothing literally is perfect. It is just your understanding of what perfect is. Of course, food can be perfect because I've definitely had some perfect dishes. Wine can be perfect. Listen, a lot of things can be perfect. But as far as humans and our ability to be perfect, that's not going to happen. So stop striving for it. Strive for happiness, obviously contentment, peace. I would definitely say peace. But find out what you want for your life. That's the whole purpose. Take that for what you want. But and then also I noticed there's a constant, how do you say this? There's a constant separation between how people treat women who are in abusive relationships versus how people in society treat men who are in abusive relationships. There's a huge gender difference that shows up. For women, it's often more visible, right? The control, the intimidation, manipulation is rooted in fear. But for men, it's often hidden behind silence and shame. We all make jokes about men not being emotional, not opening up. And then sometimes, even when they do, we don't want to listen. Or we shut them down. Or we dismiss them. Or we belittle their feelings. And then hence why they don't say anything else. So imagine a man being in an abusive relationship with, I would say, a woman or a man. And they're just looked at outside in the world as like this strong, capable person. But behind closed doors, someone is like, I wouldn't say overpowering them, but I would say abusing them. And they're using that against their partner because they know that their image is important to them. This is just an example. But I think we as a society do men a disservice to teach them to be strong. So when they're emotionally or financially abused, society doesn't believe them because we're already looking at them as strong and, you can take care of it. Who are we going to call on if we can't call on you? Like, that's crazy because we're humans and there are some messed up people out here who will take advantage of you and abuse you, not because you let them, but because the opportunity presents them itself and they're a terrible person. But that doesn't mean you have to suffer in silence. And that definitely goes for anybody, men, women, trans, LGBTQ plus, whatever, whoever you are, you don't deserve to be abused in any capacity. And you don't have to suffer in silence. There's always someone who will listen to you and who cares. Because I definitely do. So, abuse thrives in isolation. That's definitely key. If you take anything away from this video, I want you to take away that. If anyone is ever trying to isolate you, that is a clear sign that they're just trying to get you to themselves so that they can control you. And more times out of not, it does not end well. So please do not ever let anyone isolate you. We'll talk about safe ways to kind of get out of that as well. But that's why awareness matters. Healing cannot happen in silence. I mean, unless you're like a monk or something and you just have to, meditate for 72 years and just be by yourself, that's another thing. That's on you. But you do not have to. Nobody tells you that you have to deal with pain by yourself. And you don't get any kudos points for that. You're not going to get rewarded for suffering in silence. And you don't deserve to. You don't have to. So, and then we want to talk about the trauma bond and why you just can't leave. A lot of people want to ask those who are abused, well, why didn't you just leave? Why didn't you just go? Like, it's just so simple. Like, y'all watch too many movies, and even in the movies they try to indicate how dangerous it is, because that's the most dangerous time when you're in an abusive relationship, is when you try to leave. So, it's not weakness to stay. It is wiring in the brain. That's what trauma bonding does. Your brain becomes addicted to the cycle of reward and punishment, love and pain, and that your partner gives you. Basically it's a reward system. Like, oh, this is a bad day, but if I cook dinner, if I clean up the house, if I buy him their favorite thing, or try to be gullible, try to be fun, whatever the case may be, just to make their day happy. And more times than not, it does. But when it does go well, you get that adrenaline boost, or that I forgot that serotonin rush. Either way, it is actually a physical, chemical thing that happens to you. So it is not you being weak. That is the cycle of abuse. That is how it wires you to get comfortable with pain, and pretty much interlock pain with love and safety, even though you should not have to go through any level of pain to feel safe. That's a contradiction in and of itself. And that's why leaving feels like a withdrawal, because you have to physically rewire your brain through your actions, through the emotional healing, through the therapy work, through the separation in time, to kind of understand and process what just happened. Because you don't develop PTSD while you're still in the war. You develop it once you're away, once you can process it, once your body can recognize that it's flinching in inappropriate settings versus what you had to do before when you were in survival mode. But like we said, with every video, we're going to have at least some therapy tools to kind of process those emotional pains and questions. So if you or anyone else may be going through something like this and you just don't know, my suggestion as a therapist would be to start tracking your emotions in a journal. You would write, and you feel free to change it up any way you want. You would write, when do I feel peace? When do I feel panic? These patterns will show you what your body already knows. So these type of tools will allow you to listen to yourself, listen to that little voice and your intuition instead of anyone else. Because that's the person that is going to have your best interest at heart, is that little voice in the back of your head. So in the digital age, control can be silent. We already know that. I remember I was in a relationship before where one of my exes wanted my password to like my Facebook and my Instagram and all that stuff. That can definitely be, that's a form of digital abuse. Because they not offering their password either. And what do you need my stuff for? Just to check and monitor me? I'm not your job. I'm supposed to be your partner, but whatever. They make you delete pictures of photos. They make you delete photos of friends, events, anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, which is terrible, because those are your memories. And I'm really big on pictures. I love my pictures. I still got photo albums. So if someone tried to tell me to delete my photo, I will delete you out of my life. Not in a violent way, but in a permanent way. Like, they comment negatively about everything you post. And I mean everything. You can say you love your mama, and they'll be like, why are you always talking about your mama? Or you a mama's boy, or you're this or that. What the fuck is your problem? There's always a problem. Always remember that too. If there's always a problem, there's a problem. Um, and they post subliminals to humiliate or manipulate you. Remember those little memes and those little... Never mind. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Digital control is digital abuse. Digital control is digital abuse. It's not right. And even ghosting can be used as a control tactic. It's done to punish or create fear. It makes you think, oh, what did I do? Could I have done things this way? Well, what if I'm overreacting? What if I'm this? What if I'm that? They give you just the right amount of time, and then just when you're about to move on, they pop back up. That's the tactic. So remember, constant manipulation is not love. It's strategy. So remember to always have a strategic plan for yourself as well. Because if they're strategic in the way that they're going to hurt you, you need to be strategic in the way that you're going to get away, in the way that you're going to protect yourself and your dignity as well. So some therapeutic insight, some CBT reframing, cognitive behavioral therapy training or reframing. One of the things that, and these are just examples. So let's reframe some common lies people in abusive situations believe. For example, I should have seen it coming. No, they hit it well, and you believed in love. You should never apologize for believing in love and believing the best in people, because that's what you're supposed to do. And unfortunately, there's people out there that prey on people like that. Not saying that you're an easy target, but when you believe in love, and especially, I'll speak for myself. Especially me when I was younger and first dating. Oh, those Disney romance movies kicked my ass. I literally thought that stuff was going to be true. Like all that. Listen, don't make fun of me. But I thought that when people dated, they had true intentions. I thought when people said things, they were telling the truth. And when those lies came back and smacked me in my face multiple times, you just had to learn the patterns so that you can stop believing what everybody tells you and start believing what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you find out. Do your own research, fact check. You can trust, but you can verify. I mean, another example is, it's my fault for staying. No. You stayed because you were hopeful and a human. I'll never trust again. Oh my God, you know how many times I've said that? And they say never say never. You will trust smarter. You will trust slower. And you'll trust yourself first. That's the key. Trusting you first. Because you always have your best interest at heart. So if there's any time that your voice or your intuition is telling you otherwise, you at least owe it to yourself to check it out. I'll say that. And that's how me and these W's today. That's how we're gonna learn to rewire our thought patterns and processes, not with shame but with truth. Shining the light on it, acknowledging it, forgiving yourself, but also taking that lesson and how to learn from it so that you'll never have to experience it again. And the good thing is you made it out, which is the prize. I'm telling you. Because when you can make it out, you can start over. You can be anything. So, different ways to heal and to reclaim yourself after experiencing an abusive relationship or situationship on any level. These are practical therapeutic steps to start healing, which is break the silence. Tell at least one safe person what happened. You do not have to take that to your grave. Because one, you didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You have every right to also pass that knowledge on other people so that that person who did abuse you don't have the power to do that to other people, because word of mouth is a thing. And as soon as somebody find out that that man or that woman is cray cray, or they put their hands on somebody, they'll be out of there. They'll probably have to move cities. I've seen it happen. Also, create a safety plan. Always have a small bag for backup funds ready. Whether it's at your mama's house, whether it's at your best friend's house, a change of clothes, toothbrush, some money, panties, underwear, some food, whatever the case. Just in case you have to make a quick getaway. And ways to ground your nervous system is deep breathing. We also have meditation, obviously. But you can look up different things that you can do actually on your body. You can rub certain parts of your body that will allow you to, calm down. But also peppermint, lavender is also good as far as oils for immediate relief. But also, we're going to always exercise too. I'm looking around because I thought I had my oil up here, but I don't. But also seek professional support. A trauma-informed therapist or a hotline can help you. I know nowadays they have 988, but if you call any of those lines, because I actually used to work at the Coalition for the Homeless, and someone called before kind of like that on that level, and I'm glad that we were able to help them. But it is a scary moment because you realize any small thing could be the straw that broke the camel's back. And a lot of the times, it's not that person's fault. It's just everything is happening at once. And a lot of people don't want to hurt themselves. They just want the pain to go away. So I just want you to know that you don't have to go through it by yourself. Whether you're healing from abuse or really anything, you can always find somebody to talk to, because somebody does care. As much as they try to say people don't care out here, they do. So, and then also relearn and to trust yourself. Because a lot of times in abusive situations, and even I've been in an abusive situation before, when you get out of it, you always feel stupid because you think you have enough sense to kind of choose a good partner. You think you have enough sense to tell the difference or whatever the case may be. And the truth is, you're not stupid. These people are just good at hiding themselves. They're good at hiding behind a mask until they have the opportunity to take it off. And that's not your fault. But learning to retrust yourself, learning to point out the signs first, learning to do small things daily. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I want you to do small things daily that make you feel in control again. Whether it's driving, whether it's painting, whether it's going to work, continuing to participate in your hobbies, taking a self-defense class. That was top tier for me. Taking a self-defense class after something tragic, especially if it comes down to like someone invading your personal or romantic space in that way, that will definitely get your confidence back. Taking down some man in a class full of women clapping you on is definitely a healing ritual for me. So healing and healing does not mean you have to forgive them. That's a misconception too. That does not mean that at all. You do not have to forgive them. This is about freeing you. As long as you free yourself, you don't have to forgive them. You don't got to talk to them a day in your life. You don't have to give them anything because you don't owe them anything. They should be groveling at your feet. Anyway, spiritual reflection. You were never the problem. I kind of wish I had that burned into my wall somewhere so I could see that every day. But you were never the problem. Spiritually speaking, abuse disconnects you from your divine identity. It makes you forget your worth, but you were never the problem. You were the light, and your light made their shadows nervous. Now it's time to remember who you are. You are worthy of soft love, peace, and a safe home within yourself and outside of yourself. And you're going to have that. We're all going to have it. Because we deserve it. So if you're watching this, if something in your spirit feels seen, please know that you're not alone. Abuse thrives in silence, but healing begins in truth. If this video helped you, like, subscribe, share, Share it with someone who needs a gentle reminder that love is never supposed to hurt. Because here at Leelee's Delivery Service, love is the ritual. So, thank you all for tuning in today. And today's video is sponsored by Fly Girl Candles here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I will be having the discount code at the bottom in the comment section. So, definitely check her out. And if you or somebody else needs this today, just know that I love you. You're not alone, and we got this. So, until next time, bye.